Hello and welcome back to the Wisconsin Gravel Cyclist. Today we're talking about the Coast to Coast Gravel Grinder 100. This race starts and ends in Ludington, Michigan, and this is a part of the Coast to Coast Gravel event. There is an event that goes from Eau Gray over to Ludington. That is over 200 miles.
I put you on my YouTube channel, the Wisconsin Gravel Cyclist. Hey, good luck. Thank you, you too. Have a good ride.
Next, I'll quickly go over my bike setup. I ran my Trek Checkpoint SL5 with a 45mm Pirelli Cinturato Gravel H tire and the Bontrager Aeolus Pro 37V wheels, and this seemed to be the right setup for today's race, at the start at least. Once we got through the start, I quickly realized that I had probably started off a little bit too slow. Luckily, there was another group or two just in front of me that I was able to latch onto and have them help me pull me back to the front of the race. After having worked my way back up to the front, we averaged around 19 miles an hour for the next 25 miles or so. Then we took a right, and then we hit a farm field where I found a mud hole that was off camber and quickly crashed. So luckily there were a couple guys that pulled me back up to the front group, where I stayed until about mile 45. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a whole lot of footage of that front group. The main reason being, when you're going 20 miles an hour, it's hard to justify reaching down to restart your GoPro every 5 minutes when you're going 20 miles an hour on gravel. So I did the safe and responsible thing and just kept riding hard. I then found myself within no man's land, so I rode by myself for quite a while. I just realized I need to pace myself and enjoy the ride over here in Michigan. The weather was still good, and it hadn't started raining yet. While in no man's land, the rain started. Well, at least I was on a road stretch. It was a good day for a ride. The temperatures weren't too bad. 68 degrees, not a lot to complain about. As I continued on the road here, I made my way back to some gravel, but yet I found myself at odds as the rain was starting to come down harder. Luckily, there were still other groups that I was able to latch on to and continue to ride with. Lots of strong riders here at the Michigan Coast to Coast 100 Loop. Everyone wanted to try to push the pace and do their best.
Yep. We're all in this together.
up until this point in time, the ride was really going great. My legs were feeling amazing, but yet, unfortunately, the weather really wasn't thinking the same. It started to rain, and rain harder than any other time I've been on the bike. Yeah, I've been in a rain shower or two while riding or racing, but nothing ever like this. The roads became this mixture of sand and mud, like nothing I've ever rode in before. Next, I'll show you a quick still picture, of what some of the course conditions were like and some of the stuff that I was dealing with. These roads were just deteriorating faster and faster, and the roads just kept getting softer and softer, muddier and muddier, and my brake pads grinding the entire time. As you could tell by my earlier excitement, I was hitting a section where I wasn't too sure what was happening. And with all the rain that we're getting, there was starting to be standing water on the course. Not only that, some of these sections were incredibly soft and would have been really, really sandy had we not had the rain. Conditions were just getting worse. With the exception of my crash, everything had been going very smooth. Well, and then this is the first section where I'm like, nope, I'm not a cyclocross racer. So I stopped, talked with this gentleman for just a second, and said, yeah, this must be one of the famous sandy sections of Big M. So what did I do? I got off my bike, walked to the next point where I could start riding again. I know my limitations. I had already crashed once, was feeling that, so I decided to just get off, walk, and give myself a little bit of a break.
Is this one of the infamous sandy sections? I don't know. I'm guessing so. Holy smokes. Which you should be.
Come to find out that this section is near Wellston, Michigan. At this point in time, we had already had almost 2 3/4 inches of water. That's a lot of rain no matter where you are. After the rain started, you've probably noticed one consistent sound throughout some of this footage. That would be the brakes grinding. My brake pads were down to the metal backing. I have never went through a brand new set of brake pads, front and rear, along with the rotors in one ride. At this point in time, I'm at about mile 60, about 5 miles away from the one and only checkpoint in the 100 mile version of the Michigan Coast to Coast. At this point in time, all I could do was keep going. Even with standing water on the trails and it getting muddier and sandier, my brakes eroding, all I could do was keep pedaling. I was kind of in limp mode at this point because I just didn't know what to think. I've never dealt with anything like this before, and I'll be honest, mentally it was draining. Luckily, not far from there, I was able to make it to the checkpoint, where my family was waiting for me. And here are just a couple pictures of me arriving at that checkpoint, and this is where I ended up deciding to not finish the Michigan Coast to Coast Loop 100. Unfortunately, with no brake pads left and being kind of pooped, I just decided it was safer to not continue. My expression in this picture says it all. What can you do? But overall, Michigan Coast to Coast, someday I'll maybe come back for you on a drier day. Last but not least, I can't thank my family enough for being there for me. This was an incredible experience to have them there waiting for me in the pouring rain. They're the best support crew that a person could ask for. With that being said, we still are getting sand out of our gear, but we were able to get some ice cream at the end. This is Logan with the Wisconsin Gravel Cyclist. Thank you for taking the time to watch my rendition of Michigan Coast to Coast Gravel Grinder 100. I hope you enjoyed it. Take a time to like, subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you out there. Let's go for a ride.